Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever it is in the world you are streaming. How are we doing with the camera? Oh, it actually sounds good too. How about that? How about that? I get the Elgato camera involved, and now all of a sudden everything has changed. I get you used to the Periscope Meerkat version, and we're slowly going to upgrade. Not a new computer just yet, but I pulled out the old Elgato camera from the COVID pandemic days, and now all of a sudden I can be seen. It's like I'm 2007 LeBron surrounded by Sasha Pavlovich, Jamario Moon, and Anthony Parker, and now I've got a little bit of help in Boobie Gibson and Mo Williams. It does not look terrible. It looks better, believe it or not. Let's go. Let's go. 1:34 a.m. Eastern time. As a wise man once said, Daffy Duck, Donald Duck, I don't give a fuck. We will be here all night because the Minnesota Timberwolves and Denver Nuggets have once again played an instant classic. Game 9 of their 2024 series that had the franchise biggest comeback for the Minnesota Timberwolves, 20 points in that one. Historic evening. And it feels like we picked up right where we left off. Sorry, there's going to be some stuttering in this because the final buzzer just went off and I'm trying to collect my thoughts like the rest of you. We're going to talk about the Knicks and the Hawks as well. But this rivalry is built on high quality hoops. Once again, if the entire NBA regular season was just these two teams playing against each other, it would pull Super Bowl number ratings. This is the highest quality hoops. And again, a rivalry that's built on respect. We heard Anthony Edwards say after, oh, Jesus, I almost forgot. The game of last regular season, the best game by far, double overtime between the Russell Westbrook Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves on TNT. That game ended at practically 3 a.m. I think it went after 3 a.m. Eastern time. Double overtime. And remember how Russell Westbrook messed up at the very end there? And you have Anthony Edwards in the locker room saying, man, Nikola Jokic is the best player that I've ever gone up against. Like, everyone's telling the truth. They have played some of the best basketball games, and it's not built off of somebody switching sides and being a traitor so that there's this petty revenge or this LeBron returning to Cleveland. It's just built on good hoops because they play the best games when they go up against each other. And that was on display yet again tonight. So you had the double overtime game from last regular season. Let's now fast forward to Christmas night. How many of you stayed up? That game ran so long, it felt like it was New Year's Eve by the time it was done. The Minnesota Timberwolves at the time, because they ended up beating their own record later in the season against the Houston Rockets. At the time, they surrendered the biggest overtime lead in the play-by-play era history of the NBA. 9 points in overtime. The Nuggets come all the way back to win that one. We fast forward to game 1 and now game 2 of this playoff series, and nothing has changed. All they do is play bangers. Every game is an instant classic. Fucking brilliant hoops. Where to even begin with that one? Let me you guys guide the show because I did plenty of yapping yesterday and I went a long time without actually reading the question. This is meant to be a live Q&A. Ambient Dreamer says Wolves are all the way back. Doug Wood says that game felt like Pac-12 after dark in the best way possible. I'm going to be stuttering. I'm going to be mispronouncing things. Just get fucking used to it. I'm sorry. I'm in no mood to make this a professional show. Why didn't Jokic take the floater? You're talking about the one where he slid underneath? Yeah. Maybe he thought it was Anthony Edwards, right? That leaped. Maybe he thought the verticality was going to be there from Ant, so I'm going to try and slip it underneath him. And then it was Christian Brown who got fouled and missed one of the free throws, if I have the sequence of events correct there. So much shit happened, man. Jamal Murray settled for a tough 2 when the Nuggets had roughly 20 seconds left, down by 3. They don't call a timeout. Theme of the night. after what happened at Madison Square Garden, even though they didn't have a timeout. We'll get to that later. I love that call. I love when coaches don't call a timeout. You know why? Because everyone wants to sit there and say, that's the best that you can come up with. Why didn't the coach draw up a timeout? Some, not most, but some coaches prefer to just let it play out because they trust their veteran guys. The Denver Nuggets execute as well as anyone in the world in those moments. Also, if you call a timeout, it permits the defense, the opposing team, to sub in their most optimal lineup defensively. They get to draw up their defensive play as much as you get to draw up your offensive play. So he just said, let it go. And to see them settle for such a difficult shot is now going to make David Adelman out to be the man responsible for this loss tonight. But it's hindsight. What's up, Jish? We are indeed so back. Don't turn your back on the Wolfpack. I hit the NWO black and red. The red and black. The Wolfpack. The theme deserved to be played tonight. What's up, YouTube chat? I see you guys as well. A whole bunch of Weebacks in there. I'm following both streams here. I'm on YouTube as well as Twitter. William Zellin says, Murray and Jokic pick and roll completely neutralized down the stretch for the first time in a long time. They wear what they are going to run like signs around their necks. High pick and roll action. Aaron Gordon on the dunker spot with the option to go to the corner for a punish three. Now that he's been making those in high volume, he can choose depending on the feel of the moment, and he's almost always in the right spot at the right time. It's high pick and roll, and it's up to Murray to probe and then defer to Nikola Jokic when the time is right. Or does he get to his little elbow pull-up midi? They always seem to choose the right option, but tonight, unfortunately, wasn't. And if there's any team out there that has been constructed, quite literally per the words of Tim Connolly, going from Denver to Minnesota, this entire team was designed to beat Denver specifically because of their dominance in the West during their championship run. They're the one team who has the bodies for it. I understand Oklahoma City beat them last year, but that was a completely different roster that relied on Russell Westbrook in the year 2025. They did not have Bruce Brown. They did not have Tim Hardaway Jr. They don't have the depth, Jonas Valanciunas, that they have this season. And regardless, McDaniels, DiVincenzo, Randall, Gobert, they got guys that can neutralize or nullify the best basketball player in the world for now in Nikola Jokic. He had single-digit points there in the first half. That is no coincidence, nor one of those games in the regular season where Jokic just likes to assist against inferior teams. That was not by choice tonight. What else we got, chat? Connor says, I was at that game on Christmas. We can put together a documentary, Last Dance documentary on the Nuggets versus the Timberwolves in the last 3 years. This is, if you enjoy just hoops, if you enjoy the sport of basketball, not just the NBA, college, FIBA, EuroLeague, just the purity of the sport, show me a better example of it being played at this level with star power as far as the eye can see and the chess moves that were being made in real time. If you watched the show or listened to the Sirius XM show, we dedicated a significant amount of time to this, elaborating on Chris Finch identifying at the end of the second quarter in game one, where Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle cannot be on the floor concurrently because the Denver Nuggets are permitting both of those guys to shoot anywhere they want from a long distance. So what you get is two Nuggets in pick and roll action or dribble handoff sets, retreating, going into drop coverage, and essentially clogging the toilet and setting up a wall. Go look at when Rudy Gobert was subbed out in that third quarter. At the very beginning, like towards the 7-minute mark, there was not a whole bunch of overlap with Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle tonight. And he saw it at the end as soon as that fumbled handoff that resulted in Julius Randle launching a brick that I thought was going to knock a fan unconscious. 2 minutes left, second quarter, game one. Immediately, Chris Finch goes to the bench, brings in Jaden McDaniels. You know what happened the subsequent possession? Now Jaden McDaniels has to be guarded because he has a respectable three-point jump shot. He ends up getting a wide open red carpet opportunity at the rim because the entire dynamic of the Timberwolves floor spacing changes. And there was not a whole bunch of overlap tonight with those two. I went into the offensive rating and the two-man lineup data from game one, where the Timberwolves had an offensive rating of just 100 flat when it was Gobert and Randall. And I'm going to be so eager to see when NBA updates the advanced analytics tonight, how many minutes they played together compared to game one, and what the result of those two-man lineups looked like offensive rating-wise. Something tells me it's going to be in a significantly lower volume with the same type of efficiency. And you can't even, if you're the Nuggets, you can't even blame this on, I'm getting hot. Let me turn on my fan. You can't even blame this on the Jokic minutes coming off the floor. What just happened? Can you guys at least hear me? Hold on. What happened? Camera just turned off. Things were going too well there, weren't they? Hold on. Okay, hold on. I'm going to try and turn it back on. Of course. Why would this ever just work? Bear with me, people. I'm going to try and reconnect it. If not, we're going to go back to the old camera, and it's going to look terrible. As you guys know, I'm getting a new laptop on Thursday. Oh, we might be in business. Hold on. We might be in business. New laptop is due on Thursday, people. Am I back? Wait, I'm kind of back. Why is it so dark? Hold on, we can fix this. We can do this. Did I do it? Let's go. Okay, we're back. Anyway, I'm getting a new laptop. I'm getting a new laptop on Thursday. Hopefully this is all solved. The hardware I'm currently using in the Elgato is a camera from 2019, and I have a MacBook Pro from 2019. So that's why it's all sorts of glitchy. Okay. But what I was saying is you can't even blame the Jokic minutes because the Nuggets were +2 in the 4 minutes and 4 seconds that he was off the floor to start the fourth quarter. They won those minutes. And in years past, Nuggets fans had always been like doing this when Russell Westbrook came onto the floor to hold the line and carry the offense. Oh, the Vactis in one of the chats here. Oh, can we talk about that Tony Brothers call? What? That's going to fly under the radar. What on earth was that call? Hand made contact with the knee. And I mean, it touched like this much. But that was one of the most prominent examples of Tony Brothers having so much pride that if you try and challenge one of my calls, it better be fucking obvious. Otherwise, I'm standing on business. You got to know your customer. And Tony Brothers is never overturning his own call. That is the way that he works. Like, that wasn't even close to being a foul. It wasn't even marginal contact. It didn't exist. And the Nuggets were beneficiaries of that. And then I think there was a McDaniels like forearm there a little later. I forgot what happened, just a couple of seconds, but the Wolves survived all of that adversity. Yeah, back to knee to foot contact. Sorry, I got to stop yapping and catch up in the chat because there's so many of you. Brian's in the chat saying after a game like that, and we don't even get a post-game show on NBC, awful. So what's hard to believe is during the regular season, I believe that they did the post-game show on Peacock. Are they on Peacock right now? They should have something on Peacock, but they obviously can't do the NBC broadcast channel because of local affiliates needing to get to their local news. This is the problem with Inside the NBA on ABC, and why they've completely destroyed the brand and the product is because they've shortened the show to 27 minutes to accommodate all of the local affiliates. Yes, you get additional distribution, but you are limiting fans in their desire to engage in something like this. This is why Late Night with Wild was originally born, because no one is live at 1:47 a.m. Eastern time. There are people awake, those of you watching in the Philippines. I look at my demographics on YouTube and Twitter. I see you watching from Philippines, Australia, even waking up in Europe. We were talking to someone from Finland who was getting ready for work yesterday. There are people looking for post-game content, and just because most of the United States is asleep doesn't mean you have to wait until morning. If you are an aspiring content creator out there, I'm washed, I'm getting old. I only have so many years left. I'm like LeBron at the end of his career over here. But if you're trying to make a name for yourselves, the only reason why I built a platform the way I was able to is because I found an unoccupied niche. People want to talk about basketball after the game is over. What a novel concept. We don't need to blame Olga anymore. For those of you that don't know and don't watch my police chase streams, Olga has been evicted. She got evicted a couple of weeks ago. So that night where I got yelled at, will you shut up, please? Will you shut up? Because my window was open and I was screaming about James Harden in a similar way. Not anymore. No one lives in that fucking apartment. Come and get it. Carly says, wait, new camera is giving Blair Witch Project found footage vibes. Oh, that is some millennial PTSD for me. Wolves adjusted on the DHOs. That's where you begin. Wolves back 12. Nice, astute analysis there, and I'm not being sarcastic. But yeah, that dribble handoff, they found ways to jam up Murray from getting downhill. And we know Jokic wants to get that entry pass in the same spot Victor Wembanyama does, which is the nail on the free throw line, the elbow or the free throw line extended because he can turn face and be afforded the luxury of seeing the entire floor and making his options. The problem is tonight he deferred when he probably shouldn't have deferred, and it does rely on those two making the most optimal choice from the long menu that they get to choose out of a pick and roll set. And tonight, Minnesota shortened that menu and forced them into decisions which they probably regretted. Okay, chat is still complaining about that foul on Christian Brown. Yeah, that was barely any contact. And that Tony Brothers has the audacity to say that was this. I'm usually like, Twitter, you guys are being hyperbolic, prisoners of the moment. Get out of your echo chambers. That was bad. That was bad. And if there's a pool report from this game, I would be dying to hear Tony Brothers' explanation for what he saw during the review. Now, reviews are on the line with Secaucus. I've been in that war room before. Carly, I think you have too. They have TVs everywhere and employees, and they're communicating with the crew chiefs through a headset. But the crew chief does have significant discretion on anything that is subjective. And Tony Brothers is saying, I'm not overruling that. Jay Smoove in the chat is saying, just grateful to have this amazing ethical hoops series along with New York and Atlanta. So blessed. We'll get to that in just a minute. Got obviously some things to say. But right now we're reacting to Wolves versus Nuggets. I'm the Sin says the Nuggets are really going to regret not throwing that last game of the season to get the Rockets. Well, no, wait. Yeah. No, hold on a second. They didn't control their own destiny. San Antonio controlled their destiny. Hey, come on. Big forehead guy says Scalabrini sounded like he had bees in his mouth. Come on. No, Scalabrini brought up a couple of good points. He suggested walking the dog to go 2 for 1 at the end of the third quarter, which I was surprised they didn't do. He was honest about the Tony Brothers call, as was Austin Rivers. Austin Rivers sounded like he was doing a podcast. What is with the broadcasts lately, by the way? So Amazon Prime put a timeout on the screen for the Miami Heat in that play-in tournament game, which they didn't have. The whole world was losing its shit over Eric Spoelstra not calling a phantom timeout. So NBC tonight adds that timeout while CJ McCollum is attempting his free throws. And I tweeted about this, but I'd like to repeat myself before we start talking about it a little later, because I do know how TV production works. And I have a really good educated guess on what transpired. So Noah Eagle and Jamal Crawford are sitting there calling the game courtside. usually at those production desks is a statistician that is sitting to their left. That is someone who is pulling up stats from the game or stuff that they want to include in the broadcast to make them sound smart. It's usually the unsung hero of the broadcast is sitting right there. That person also has a headset on as well, and they can flip between channels if they want to communicate with the truck on something that they need to hear, but the talent is busy calling the game. So my guess to what happened was either the director or the executive producer thought that there was a timeout remaining for New York. So they relay to Noah Eagle and Jamal Crawford that they have a timeout left. It is not a coincidence that the graphic added a timeout to it in between the free throws, and then Noah brought it up, likely because the director told him, hey, the Knicks have a timeout. We're going to put the little hyphen back up on the screen and make sure you let the audience know. Unfortunately, it was incorrect news, but that's how the game of telephone occurred. And these broadcasts are always a collaboration. And unfortunately, that was extremely detrimental to the discourse that came from this game, because now everyone was saying Mike Brown is an idiot. How do you not call a timeout? And we got to go out of our way to educate everyone now that the graphic was incorrect. Mike Brown used a timeout with 2 minutes and 47 seconds left for almost no reason as Jalen Brunson was bringing the ball into the front court. And I didn't watch the post-game press conference, but I would be surprised if Mike Brown admitted this. I think he fucked up thinking that the clock was that there were more than 3 minutes left. As many of you know, if there's more than 3 minutes left and you have 3 timeouts, that's called the use it or lose it timeout. If you don't use that timeout before the clock hits 2:59, it goes from 3 timeouts to 2 timeouts. And because it had just gone underneath the 3-minute mark, he goes, timeout, I'm going to draw up something, and then, oh, fuck. I didn't realize that the clock was under 3 minutes, so now he only had 1 timeout left, which he used a little bit later before the final possession. Holy shit, there are so many messages. Okay, I'm going to go into reading messages mode now, and then I'll get back to Clip Compile says, I disagree with you. You guys are going to have to provide context because there's so many of you responding. I don't know what you're talking about. Murray looked gassed big time because he was being asked with Jokic to essentially spearhead every single play down the floor against an entrenched defense for 6 game minutes, and that felt like 30 to 35 real minutes. Ryan F. Oh my God. Ryan F. 1380 in the chat says, is the Jokic dunk on Gobert going to be the most improbable highlight play that likely gets forgotten to history now? No, in basketball, that play belongs to Marcus Page in the national championship game between Villanova and North Carolina, where he hits one of the most ridiculous turnaround double pump 3-pointers to tie the game to force overtime before Villanova hits a half-court buzzer beater. That will always go down as the play everyone forgets. But that Jokic dunk, Jokic does not dunk. He just doesn't dunk even at that size. He cocked one back and he went for it on Gobert of all people. One of the best rim protectors even at this age, even with all those miles on the odometer. Jokic cocks that bitch back and throws it through to make it a 2-point deficit. This was after Tony Brothers. Just fucking mayhem in this game. How many main events occurred in the last 30 to 45 seconds? H, what's up? Tahirovic might have been the best quarter I've seen Rudy Gobert play, one of the best of his career. And he practically got benched at the beginning of the third. Next man up, similar to what we saw with Team France. Jay Smooth says, it seems Bones Highland's career is fully back. Good for him. Guess whose career is back too? He plays for another team, but formerly the Minnesota Timberwolves, where he made a name for himself. Nickeil Alexander-Walker was almost out of the NBA after what happened in Utah and previously New Orleans. And then he finds a role as a 3-and-D guy with Minnesota. Opportunity comes in so many different forms, and it almost always depends on the situation of the team that you're playing for and how you fit in. That's why drafting is not that obvious. You can take one of the most talented players like James Wiseman, but if he doesn't fit what the Golden State Warriors are and you draft for position as opposed to talent, that can sometimes be the result. Where Bones Highland now has found himself opportunity on a team that has no second unit whatsoever outside of Dosunmu. Zero. Like Naz Reid, of course, counts, but he's out there with the mainstays as much as the starters. So you have Naz Reid, the corpse, the zombie corpse of Mike Conley. What are you going to do? Put in Joe Ingles? And it's been Bones Highland who's been their microwave scorer, and quite honestly, what Rob Dillingham was supposed to be. Where are those Terrence Shannon Jr. minutes? Is he hurt or something? Am I missing something? Is that not the guy that shot the Minnesota Timberwolves to their one victory against the Oklahoma City Thunder in last year's conference finals? Man, they are really top heavy. YouTube chat, I see you guys as well. I know I'm trying to focus on both here. DePaul says Michael Grady's working overtime. I saw Grady getting called out a little bit by Twitter, and someone was like, does this dude like root for the Timberwolves or something? And then everyone found out that Michael Grady used to do and still does many Timberwolves broadcasts. It's the same dichotomy that was set up in the World Series where the Los Angeles Dodgers announcer is the A team for Fox. Now, Grady is a professional, and I thought he brought equal and similar energy to his calls, but it was enough that people started to ask the question, is this guy from Minnesota or something? Balt says, Butler version of Wolves Nuggets game 82 is the reason we have the play-in. Manzo says, Denver fans suffering through those 8:40 p.m. local tip times. Oh, yeah, so they lost an hour. It's now almost 2 a.m. Eastern on a Tuesday morning. This is one of the most difficult parts about the NBA business succeeding. In their eyes and minds, everything is great because we got $76 billion for our broadcast rights. But if you know anything about the NBA, it is by far the latest sport in North America. If you're on the East Coast and you're trying to cover this nationally, you better not have kids. You better not have another job because you're going to see the sun come up almost every single time. I bet they haven't even started and finished the damn press conference yet. You have to stay up to get those quotes to add the context to the shit that you're writing and talking about. I know I'm in here doing instant reactions, but I've seen the sun come up living in New York more times than I can count. The NBA is on so late, and how many times these double overtime games between the Nuggets and the Timberwolves end at fucking midnight on the West Coast or in the Mountain Time Zone. I wish that the quality of this hoops was being seen by more fans mainstream. I live in an apartment complex right now, and I'm facing the building next to me. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 apartments across 3 levels, and there's 4 lights on, which means everyone else is sleeping. So that just completely takes them out of the equation that they were watching this game anyway, unless they have their curtains on and I can't see their television. So people wake up tomorrow, they hear there was a good game, but I didn't see it live. The Timberwolves and Nuggets always delivers. It is becoming the NBA's version of WrestleMania. You have to stay up for these hoops if you enjoy this sport. But it hurts. I understand it. And some of you are like, I'm not staying up till 2 a.m. I got to get up at 6 a.m. to go to work and feed my family. I wish the NBA found a way to get these on in I'm not saying replace the New York Knicks slot, but let's try and find a way when they move to the Central Time Zone to put Timberwolves Nuggets in that 7 p.m. Eastern slot, which is 6 p.m. That's still reasonable time, local time, because the world deserves to see this. At least North America deserves to see this. King Benjamin says, Aaron Gordon looked like a shell of himself tonight. They're going to need more from him if they're going to win this series. Is that you, Wolves guy? Road 24? Rob, you know what time it is? It's time to talk Wolves. Not you again. Didn't you call into Sirius XM once? How did you get through? I got to tell my producers to look out for you. What's going on with Julian Strother's minutes? Also, is Peyton still hurt? What's going on with him too? Peter says, don't sweat the camera. You have a beard for radio. Thank you. I'm catching up. Jesus, 100 more comments. I'm going to try and get through these as fast as possible. The entire chat responding to my peacock direction. I assume NBC has a postgame show considering how much they paid for this. They built a studio. They have Maria Taylor, Carmelo Anthony, and all of this talent. I assume they're doing some version of a postgame show. But yeah, you're going to need a streaming service to be able to watch it. Oh, they're live on not NBC. They're on NBCSN. So NBCSN, for those of you that still have cable, I can't imagine many of you kids still have old-fashioned cable with a cable box, but NBCSN is NBC Sports Network. So they brought back NBC Sports Network, which is what they were showing. That's the new NBA TV. That's where they were showing Raptors versus Cavs. Another game that was played, but it's going to get no attention. Brandon Ingram is going through it right now. Six Thunder says, hi from Nigeria. That was an awesome game. Salute to you, sir, for staying awake. I can't imagine it is a decent hour over there. Yes, chat. Olga was evicted. If you're a long-time Radio Roulette Late Night with Wob viewer, we're just bringing these back recently for a reboot season. But Olga is a main character. She was my neighbor that got very mad at me as I was getting passionate about a similar type of game. And then she stepped out onto the patio and said, will you shut up, please? In her Ukrainian accent. She has been evicted. Not because of me, because so many complaints against her. Bauer Power says, you need modern technology? Never. This is always going to be a show that looks like a VCR is playing it. It's my brand, it's my style, and it's my preference. You guys see this t-shirt, by the way? You can't handle the tooth. This is a thrust. Talk about a throwback. Isaiah Thomas. You can't, when his tooth got knocked out in a playoff game. Can't handle the tooth. Instead, you can't handle the truth. Keep Tony Brothers and Scott Foster away from this series, says D Parks. Good luck. Oh, Spence John 24 says, people's opinion on Rudy is a ball knowledge barometer. I'd actually agree with that, depending on if you like him or you don't like him. The way that you discuss his impact, because he is very analytic friendly. Very analytic friendly. You can find some advanced stat out there that's going to show how impactful Rudy Gobert is, but sometimes there are matchups which do not work out well for him, and sometimes they do. He is one of the most prominent, matchup-driven players I've seen, because he can really stand tall at the rim, not to the level of Victor Wembanyama anymore. And he is certainly useful, but he can be dragged out against small ball. In that series against the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Utah Jazz back in the day, that's when he originally got ran off the floor. He struggles offensively too. It's tough to see him finish, but I'm not going to sit here and deny that he doesn't have plenty of positive contributions every single night. Mac Daddy Prince in the chat says, do you think Ant should flop more for more calls that he deserves, or do you think the Wolves can still win his current play style? Yeah, you're not getting, and there's going to be no flopping calls at all if this series goes 6-7 games. Once again, I've spoken to players, coaches, former, current in the last 2 weeks all about this, and they say the same thing. Physicality is enforced differently in the playoffs. It's a completely different sport. The rules are written the same, but the way that the referees are instructed to do it is different. And the way that they are graded is also different. I'm going to repeat myself. For those of you that saw a previous show, I apologize, but I do know this for a fact because I spoke with someone who will remain anonymous. The way that referees get their report cards from their bosses in the referees union is they're judged in the playoffs by all the calls that they make and are incorrect. If they don't blow the whistle, they don't get a little like tick next to their name. So this is why you see referees, if it's close, they just let it go because the NBA wants a different style of flow in the postseason. Don't blow that whistle unless you're correct. And as you get to game 6 and game 7, you're going to start to see the entire officiating crews become crew chiefs, which is Tony Brothers, Scott Foster, Ed Malloy, Zach Zarba. There's plenty of crew chiefs, like captains of crews. They assemble like the Avengers for the big games to make sure that they are as officiated as properly as possible. You want your longest tenured referees managing those games. So I will anticipate, which is why game 7s are always played in the half court. They're physical. There's not that many fouls. You should anticipate as we get further and further along in this really competitive series, the flopping is going to be less and less rewarded. The Burner 301 in the chat says, DiVincenzo, Dosunmu, McDaniels are quietly putting on a modern-day 3-and-D connector role masterclass. Nicely said. Lucas says the score bug was updating the score so fast. Those Nas minutes to start the fourth were massive. That was another storyline from this game. Nas reads, it wasn't even him catching fire from the outside, and he's meant to be the primary floor spacer, especially with that second unit. How about Nas Reed putting the ball on the floor? He's a fucking 7-footer. And just like Jokic, cocking that shit back and letting loose some primal screams. Every possession down the floor felt like an episode of the movie Gladiator. I'm going to keep reading comments, but give me a second. So much yapping. Scratchy throat. Oh, much better. I'm not on Adderall. I'm just on NBA. A shout out to ProfitX. They're sponsoring this stream, people. If you're interested in sports investing, I can't think of a better place. We got to show love, otherwise these streams will not come back. They are sponsoring content for the playoffs. If you are interested in this kind of stuff, you don't have to be, but I hope you end up choosing ProfitX. As you guys can see, some of these lines coming up in the next couple of games. I don't have enough left in the tank to keep doing this unless it's a sponsored stream. Been doing this shit for like decades plus. But this type of game will always get me going, so it does incentivize me regardless. But the Timberwolves and Nuggets can only play a maximum of 7 times against each other. Terrence Shannon Jr., 0 minutes tonight, yeah. Rudy was in foul trouble, yeah. C. Kruger in the chat is saying, where are you live on YouTube? YouTube chat, let him know. ProfitX is the answer. PROPHETX YouTube channel. It didn't matter. The Nuggets were not thinking about losing the last game of the season on purpose so that they can end up on the Rockets Thunder side of the bracket. they had to play either San Antonio or OKC in the first round. Both are going to be formidable challenges. That's not a regrettable decision at all. Max in the chat said cautiously optimistic to watch the Blazers tomorrow. Do they have enough? Is Tom Dundon willing to pay enough to put gas in the team bus to get it to the arena? Or is he going to make them walk? What is going on with that Blazers franchise? I know he's doing that with the Carolina Hurricanes, but that is a bad look, man. You don't come to the NBA to save money. Look what happened to the Shin family with the New Orleans Hornets. Gerpel says the main reason I would never move from the West Coast. I don't know how anyone that loves sports does not live on the West Coast for that reason. There's no time zone better. Rob, let me clip you? The fuck does that mean? Is that some Zoomer lingo? If I hear clip, that usually means shoot me. That's what they say at the pickup courts. Is that what you mean? I appreciate you, Jish. You've been around too long since I used to watch this at the wee hours of the night in college and grad school. Now I'm staying up with a big boy job. That's commitment. And you see, it's not easy. Oh, you have tomorrow off. Oh, you shouldn't have said that. I was about to hype you up like you're still here anyway. You still got it. I got a comment here in the YouTube chat that says those Nas takes when they were just feeding him and he was taking it to the rim against those small guards felt like the best hoops. And then it was being clapped back at the other end. They were going back and forth. Fucking A, that was both teams being NBA Jam on fire. They both had game breaker for what felt like 7 straight game minutes. And this is only game 2, by the way. Nuggets, Wolves, fucking bangers. But chat, Olga was a baddie. Olga was hot. I'm not gonna lie. Olga was fucking smoking. She was just crazy. She had that. The cops called on her multiple times. She ripped all the cupboards off the wall once. She was going through something mentally, but she was hot as shit. The hot ones are always crazy like that. Who remembers the pod stream from April 2020 or 2022? If you're a new viewer, once upon a time on this show, the chat convinced me towards the end of the episode, they were talking about like pogs and pogs and pogs. And because I'm a boomer millennial is what I identify with. Those are my age pronouns, boomer millennial. I was alive during the slammer age of pogs. Like that was the biggest thing. I used to go to the convenience store just to buy pogs. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? So I typed pog into Google, and then I ended up learning what pog is. Don't bring that up to Mrs. Wob, Andrew. The hot ones are always crazy. They are, but that's why they're hot. Hype Wolf says 9K viewers on a live stream at this ungodly hour, a bunch of basketball sickos. Yes, we are. That shirt brings back horrible memories for me. Oh, this was against the Wizards. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. Demon Penitent in the chat says, I'm Central Time and got to go to work. I got to go work a 12-hour shift at 5 a.m., but it's worth it to see my Wolves win. I don't know. Lunch hour car nap will be the best part of my day tomorrow. You are a fucking sicko. 2 thumbs up. Sicko. Somebody give that man a raise for showing up to work on time tomorrow. That is a commitment to the game and supporting the shit that you love. $38 views on YouTube. I don't do YouTube. Like every other platform out there, I don't have my own personal YouTube. It's going to surge the way that Twitter did for a decade. Something else will come along, and then everyone will migrate over to TikTok, how it took away Vine, and something will happen that starts siphoning away all of the usage from YouTube. There's no point in just following in what's the next cool thing. Stick with the platform and make it work. We're here on Twitter where we've got almost 10K people in here at 2:17 in the morning Eastern. Sorry, I got to keep catching up on these chats. I'm live on YouTube to make it accessible for those of you that don't use Twitter or just prefer because you have a YouTube Premium and you can watch this picture in picture. Are we done with this game? Can we move on to Knicks Hawks, or do you want to keep talking about this shit? Hype Wolf says, I know reffing is not an easy job, but they need to get rid of the ones who have an ego problem. They're the most tenured referees. That's why they have egos. Good luck. It's like getting rid of a politician that's been an incumbent for 20 years. Like, makes a lot of sense, but you got to, like, vote them out. They got too much fucking power, man. Appreciate you, K-Wop, one of the elite orators of basketball of our time. Bless you, basketball Socrates. Thanks for the compliment, but it's a little too. There are much more eloquent basketball speakers and analysts. You see, their problem is something that they never identified when content in the internet was really coming up at the end of the 2000s and early 2010s, is that especially on the sports side, people want to consume content when they are feeling the emotion of the moment. When you go to bed and wake up the next day, you're either over it, you're looking for some more astute analysis that is structured. That's why podcasts exist, where two people in a very structured form will give you some nuanced takes. Sometimes you just want to go in there and share with people who are feeling the same kind of way. And once again, I just identified an area of content that was unoccupied. That's it. Who else is live at 2:19 in the morning Eastern time, or people are waking up in Asia? What creators in North America never realized until somewhat recently is that there's people outside of the United States. And this happens, I don't mean to start preaching about things like politics, the economy, and social economics, but here in America, people have lenses that are red, white, and blue, and that's it. Like, the United States is the only place on the planet. And after many travels and speaking with you, all of you, from across the world, it really did open up my eyes that I should be creating content for this wider net because there is demand for it. So if you're out there and you're an aspiring content creator, the first thing you should be thinking of is stuff that appeals to the world. Everyone just wants to focus on like what the United States is interested in. People here love the NFL. They love college football. But in other countries, they can't even name who Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady is. Jaden says, I think Knicks in 6 is fair. Didn't I predict Knicks in 6 originally? That means the Hawks got to win 2 games, and this was one of them. Jack says, Wob, assuming the Lakers win this series, how would you place their odds versus OKC? Even with full health, assuming the Lakers win this series, how would you place their odds versus OKC? Off the board. I'm not taking any action on that. It'll return as guaranteed as the S&P or a treasury bill. If I let people book money on that. I don't think ProfitX is even letting you bet between the Suns and the last time we checked yesterday. The Suns and the Thunder. Let me take a look at this. Series pricing. Is it off the board still? Minus 25,000. Minus 25,000 right over here. You can pretty much anticipate that the line is going to be something similar because no, the Lakers have 0 chance. 0. And 0 is being generous, honestly. OKC's not going to lose a game until the conference finals. Helwick says the Nuggets rested everyone except Jokic for game 82. They were content losing, but no Julian Strother and Valanciunas had to have legacy games to prove a point. We're not doing this. That now they have to play the Timberwolves. They had difficult matchups regardless, because then they would have had to get OKC in the second round. So much Bronny James against OKC. Do you remember the first half of the Toon Squad versus the Monstars, where the scoreboard said we've lost track? I don't know. It's a lot to a little. That's what those games are going to look like. Have we forgotten what happened in the regular season, even with Luka and Reeves out there? OKC, if they win a single game by less than double digits, I'll be surprised. The Lakers enjoyed the series against the Rockets, though, because Lord knows what's going to happen. Kevin Durant was at practice today. He was getting up shots, but his knee was significantly bandaged. So it's a right bruise to the patellar tendon, is what Ime Udoka said. I have no clue if he's going to play tomorrow. Right. They should bring back Comedy Central. Is that still a channel that exists? They should put those games on Comedy Central. If I have to watch Bronny James try and beat Cason Wallace, what Cason Wallace would do to Bronny James is he's trying to dribble the ball across the half-court line in 8 seconds or less. Oh, my God. That would be a misdemeanor in half of the states in America. That is unfair fight. That is Anthony Joshua against Rey Mysterio. We haven't even started. It's now 2:24 a.m. We haven't started talking about. We haven't started talking about Knicks Hawks yet. Do we need to? CJ McCollum kicked our ass. What do you want me to say? He was phenomenal. And how many of you sickos watched the game between the Wizards and the Pistons at the beginning of the season when Cade Cunningham got hurt? He fell on his back and everyone thought he broke his tailbone. That was the game he shot. Helwick, you would know this off the top of your head. I think he shot 43 times. CJ McCollum was balling that night for the Wizards. Balling. There's a reason why that game went to overtime. Now, the Pistons were down so many guys, but CJ McCollum is such a vet. He knows exactly where to get on the floor for his preferred spots. He doesn't let the Garden's aura get to him. And the Knicks melted down in the final 5 minutes with an offense that was reminiscent of the Houston Rockets when they just run around like, what do I do with this? What do I do with this thing? It's a grenade. It's live. Here, Kevin Durant, take it. Here, Jalen Brunson, take it. He was starting his offense from the C on the Knicks logo at midcourt. Deserved to lose the game. But at the same time, they should have easily won it. They once again destroy the Hawks on the glass, who don't have any big guys. They had to play Tony Bradley because Jock Landale and Mo Gay are hurt. Onyeka Okongwu is undersized to begin with. Towns and Mitchell Robinson were destroying them, and they're going to continue destroying them, and the Knicks are eventually going to win this series. What C.J. McCollum did tonight is not sustainable 4 out of 7 times. Even James Harden had a 50-point game for the 76ers against the Boston Celtics. What was the result of that series? Okay? But, yeah, the half-court offense was a problem. Josh Hart and OG Anunoby held Jalen Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker to 5 of 18 from the floor in the first 3 quarters, 5 turnovers, and the Knicks somehow still lost. And I made this analogy in my post-game thoughts video, but I was sitting there like, this is how anyone who invested in Hawk Tua coin from the Hawk Tua girl must have felt when it went to zero. Like, that's what you get for investing in a crypto scam that is centered around a teenager who's talking about spitting on dicks. Like, what else did you think was going to happen? And then I felt the same way. Like, I just got rug pulled. In the timeout situation again. So the Knicks did not have a timeout. And Mikal Bridges still got a good look. And that, too, would have been another one of those performances and things that happen that we forget about if C.J. McCollum misses both of those free throws and Mikal Bridges hits a winner. And I don't want to hear anything about, like, oh, Mikal Bridges is so unclutch. He got a decent look at it while it wasn't incredibly easy. And I'm not forgetting all the shots that he hit against the Boston Celtics in the first two games of last year's series. We're not doing this shit. I felt there was a point in the first half where I felt bad for the Atlanta Hawks. I felt legitimately bad for them because they didn't have any big guys to compete with this fully armed and operational battle station of the New York Knicks front line. Like, this felt like a men against boys, JV versus varsity. The way that we were manhandling them on the glass, and Karl-Anthony Towns started getting going. He had so many putbacks. He had one of those violent drop steps that turns him into the bodega cat. You know what happens next. The threes start to flow. They are usually in rhythm, transition at the top of the key off of secondary transition. This time it was Jose Alvarado, who this was the 3-minute mark in the third quarter, where he gets it and just shovels it to him like a running back on an HB toss. It's up. You knew it was going in the moment it left his fingertips. And that's what Karl-Anthony Towns does. Did I see what McDaniel said? What I've been doing a show snipe 614 for the last 57 minutes and 3 seconds. Do you think I'm watching a press conference? Perhaps you should tell me maybe what he said. You know, two things drive me crazy: tech problems and lack of context. Did you see this? Did you see this? No, I didn't. And now someone's probably going to lie to me, and I'm going to report fake news because I can't authenticate it. Oh, and now you drop a link in the chat. How the fuck am I supposed to click that link? It's not even a hyperlink. What am I going to do? Copy it? Can't even copy out of the comments. Why don't you just copy what he said and put it in there? Why is this so difficult? Jesus Christ! What was I saying? Kate Wap says, Jaden McDaniel said, go at Jokic, Jamal, all the bad defenders. Tim Hardaway, Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, their whole team. So he called their whole team bad defenders? Damn. Did he actually? I wish my computer actually worked, because then I would go watch the video. Okay, you know what's going to make me mad? Now I'm going to have to go watch the video to see what type of context he said it in. And I'm going to have to go picture in picture. And if this shit breaks the stream, oh my God. Stand by, please. I'm not mad at you. I'm just venting. It's not loading. This is not a good start. Taking forever. What's it going to do when I have to hit a play button on a video? The computer's going to start smoking. Okay. I'm not going to do this. This is taking. Oh, here we go. First thing that pops up from Christopher Hine. Let's listen. This is okay. They're all bad defenders. They have people who can't defend. Something about being more athletic than them. I don't know if you guys can hear this. Tell me that social media platforms aren't listening to us, by the way. As we just talked about this, and it's the first thing that popped up on my burners for you feed, almost word for word. All the bad defenders. Tim Hardaway, Whoa. It's called Aaron Gordon a bad defender? They're all bad defenders. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Cam Johnson. They don't got people who can defend the rim. We're more athletic than them. I apologize to who did I blast especially in here? Snipe 614. And everyone else, your comments were not out of context. And this is as bad as you made it sound. So confirmed. Good job, chat. Okay, how do I get out of this now? Snipe, you have to understand. You have to understand my frustration as being a stream host, having to deal with bad technology. I have to be the director, the producer, the talent, and I have to click around. Then I grow a little frustrated when people don't help in the chat and they're like, hey, did you see this? I'm like, no, I didn't. I've been busy talking to you guys for the last hour. Who else do I need to apologize to? Snipe, I'm sorry. Who else? Wolves tank season. Everyone else. Okay, can we move on? Helwick says Cat didn't shoot enough tonight. What was he, 8 of 12? Helwick, go look at his box score from the month of April and tell me what you see. The number 12 is going to be a common denominator. Almost to every single one of those games in April, he shoots exactly 12 times, and that's it. This is part of Knicks fans' frustration in that it's the most we get from Karl-Anthony Towns, who's as important of an offensive presence and creator as Jalen Brunson. Josiah, you have been telling me to buy new technologies for as long as you've been in this damn chat. That is not the way that it works. I am stubborn, and I will go until this thing quite literally cannot turn on anymore. I have a new laptop on the way, which I've been told is good for streaming. And I'll use it, and we will move on. It's not a Mac. It is does anyone know laptops? I can tell you what it is, actually. It's coming from Best Buy. It'll be here Thursday. I don't want to click this link because, it's an Asus, A-S-U-S, Asus VivoBook 16, Copilot Plus, AMD Ryzen AI5 with 16 gig memory. That's the laptop that's coming. Is that a good laptop? Hopefully. All the reviews said it was good. King Bao, I forgot about you. Apology not accepted. Eat broccoli on live if you're really sorry. I have Boat Girl dumped me because I would not eat vegetables. That's a fact. Did I ever tell you that? The original Boat Girl from when I first moved back to Los Angeles, she was a vegetarian and she told me I need someone that can live a healthy vegetarian lifestyle with me. And that's not you. So even though we were attracted to each other, she's like, I just don't want to take this any further. She goes, you will not eat vegetables. And I told her that on the first date. I will not eat vegetables, and there's nothing you can do to make me eat vegetables. I will let the hottest of girls walk if it requires me to eat a vegetable. Now, there was once, to prevent me from being a hypocrite, there was one time where I used to do a show called Why You Mad, where I took a lawn chair to Hollywood Boulevard, and then I just loaded Periscope. And this gorgeous girl sat next to me and offered me a banana, and I did take a bite of it. But I wasn't ever going to say no to her. Chat, this should not surprise you. Why is chat, guys, why are you turning this into something ridiculous? The boss says, Wob, you didn't see our questions, and can we talk about Risa Shea's DNPs as a #1 pick? I see you guys chatting here. I've been answering all the questions in YouTube. Twitter's busy yelling at me because I let a hot girl go because I would eat vegetables. Oh, that'll work. Dutch nuts. Hey, dude, eat some fruits and veggies. You got it. I'll get right on that. You know what? I'll be right back. I'm going to show you something. I'm in my boxers. I take fruits. I eat more fruits and vegetables than all of you. Let us now begin. May I introduce to you God's gift to the planet so you don't have to eat vegetables or fruits. Juice Festive or Juice Plus. Okay? The ingredients. Look at all these vegetables. It's essentially the stems of all the vegetables put into powder form, and you get all your veggies in these supplements. I've been taking 2 of these per day since 8th grade so that I stay alive. And I'm still alive. And I've not had a vegetable since 8th grade. I know Al Michaels probably does the same because he hates vegetables too. He seems to be doing okay for himself. You met me at the lawn chair show? Wait. You met me? Why you mad? Smoked a blunt? Man, I don't remember that. That's a fucking callback. That's pretty specific. I don't think you'd be lying about that. She wasn't hot enough for veggies. She was hot. And I liked her, but I'm not eating no damn vegetables. I don't know what else to tell you. I told her, I'll eat these with you. If you want to have a plate of it, you can also eat the veggies in front of me. I don't give a shit what you do. They smell like shit, but I'm not going to. If you want to eat them, go right ahead. I'll join you and have some Juice Festive. If only the Hawks could have drafted a young, switchable big man that can block shots and switch under guards and can shoot the ball. Are you talking about Mr. Alex Sarr? Can you imagine if they had Sarr? The Hawks, they'd be in business. Jish says he's about to go get Flintstone vitamins. Pretty close, but these aren't chewable. Louise says she couldn't have been that hot if you didn't eat the veggies. I don't want to show you a picture because then I'll dox her. Should I cover her face and just show her body? Like, look, isn't she hot? The pulse. I will gag though. So as much as I told her you can eat vegetables, do whatever you want, I may occasionally gag at the smell of them or the thought of them. Yeah, Alex Sarr is pretty clearly at this point should have been the number one pick from that draft. One a day just for men and ramen is all you need. Thank you. Are those the supplements that PG-13 took? Listen, my situation right now, she doesn't care if I don't eat vegetables. It was outside the Kimmel Theater, yeah. Someone needs to sneak some lettuce into your next meal. Don't do that. Don't even fucking try and do that. Because you know what my parents did in like 7th grade? They thought I wouldn't notice the difference if they replaced my orange juice with carrot juice. And then when I took a sip and I looked down and it was all dark, I sprayed that shit everywhere, all over the rug, the table. I ain't cleaning it up. You fuckers tried to fool me. Nasty, nasty work. Do you still get a stat of the night? Helwick, if you want to give it back to Jish, by all means. Snipe says, damn, you really follow 1.2 million people on your timeline. That's probably crazy. I haven't used my Twitter timeline on my main account in probably a decade. Everybody's muted. My real timeline's on a separate burner. I'm like Adam Silver with Milton Point. He still hasn't accepted my friend request at Milton Point 1. That's Adam Silver, and he's still active because he has a check mark now. Means he's still using the timeline and he wanted ad-free scrolling, so he bought a check mark. Wob, you've been wearing that cast or glove since Frank Ntilikina was hooping for us, and I still have the jersey. Jack says, Wob, my man, you got to learn to use lots of bitter and salt, then roast your veggies. It's good. That sounds terrible. What are you talking about? Give me a fucking cheeseburger. I make spaghetti with meat sauce. What do I put in my burrito? Meat, carne asada or chicken, pinto beans, brown rice, healthy, cheese, pico de gallo, hot salsa. May I interest you in a little Mexican rice as well? Cilantro. That's not a vegetable. It's green. It's the closest thing I'll eat to a vegetable. Stop. Why are you guys standing up for vegetables in the chat like this? Are you being paid by Big Vegetable? No one likes vegetables like this. You eat them because it's necessary for your diet. No one actually enjoys the taste of that crap. A big pile of fucking spinach. Like, who sits there and says, I'm thinking of eating some cauliflower for a snack. I would love to floss my teeth with some green beans. Mmm, yum. I just can't wait to wash down these Brussels sprouts with a fine beer. Those words have never been uttered in our lives. Big Vegetable has infiltrated my precious postgame show, where we have not talked about basketball now for the last 15 minutes. Is this truly late night with Wob again? This happened all the time, where I get sent onto these side quests. I wish I could have filmed me at the dinner table before I quit vegetables, like in 6th and 7th grade. My parents would make me eat a couple pieces of broccoli. And what I would do is, so if there was broccoli and grilled chicken, I would take the grilled chicken and I'd cut it up. And I would take the broccoli, stuff it in the middle, and create a sandwich to try and hide the taste as much as possible. And I would go like this, put it in and go, throw it back. And then if I could swallow it without gagging, that would be a success. And my parents sitting there trying to have a nice meal have to deal with me going for like 20 minutes if I caught a whiff of the broccoli. I don't think they once enjoyed a single meal for like 2 years. And then when the big skirmish happened in 8th grade, that's when they gave up. Those of you that don't know, I once sat at the dinner table, refused to eat the green beans. I can't do this anymore. And like, well, you're not leaving the dinner table until you eat your green beans. And I go, deal. So I just sat there all night. Nothing, this is better than having to eat those fucking green beans. I will sit here until school. You're going to tell my teachers why I couldn't take the test? You're going to make me sit here for the rest of my life? No. I'm going to wait you out. And guess what happened? I won. K Wop in the chat says, I live near Adelman and the hostess at the bar that I see him at keeps telling me she hooked up with him. What is going on in the chat? It's late enough for me to disclose that, right? No, people are going to watch this tomorrow. 12,000 people have already seen it. Do I think Rick Brunson makes Jalen eat his vegetables? Would I eat a can of green beans for a Knicks championship? No. Have you not learned anything from this? I want to win a Knicks championship the real way, not because I ate a can of green beans. Oh, I was sitting at that dinner table like this. And I was sitting with Boat Girl in 2021. She got vegetables on the table. No wonder she dumped me. I tried to get back together with her like 4 times. Like, are you sure? Are you sure vegetables are this important in your life? And to her credit, she fucking loves vegetables. And I see on like her Instagram and stuff, she goes on these health retreats in Mexico where they have the entire hotel catered with like a vegan menu. And I'm like, God damn, you were actually serious about this shit. And there's a couple of those. Like, there was a girl that worked poker games back in the day. She was a vegan. And I'm like, it's the type of girl that you would do anything for. And like, what am I supposed to do if she's vegan and I'm not? Like, their entire lives are based around vegan lifestyle. Like, she would want out of this relationship immediately if I'm over there cooking a steak, right? YouTube chat, leave me alone. Big skirmish in 8th grade. It was a skirmish. Pico de gallo is not a collection of vegetables. It is salsa. I'm talking about salsa, pretty much. Beans are not vegetables. They are more. Beans are. They're not green, so they're not vegetables. No. Can we end this stream already? It's almost midnight. It's almost 3 a.m. What are you sickos still doing in here? World War II fact. Royce, there's a new World War II movie coming out, and I can't believe they cast Captain Winters as General Montgomery. I was looking forward to Pressure. I think Jeff Daniels is in it too. I can't look past what's his name? Brody is in the movie. Why did you cast him? It's like taking Tom Hanks and putting him into another. He's done a war movie on Greyhound as a captain, but making him like a ranger in another movie, an Army Ranger. Say something nice about Royce O'Neal. He's only down 0-1. People mad about Jaden's comments got to remember Jamal Murray called out every Wolf defender irrelevant after game 1. Ooh, context. Thank you, Max. Stat of the night from Jish. Now we're really back. Today was the second time the Knicks blew a 12-point lead entering the fourth quarter. The other time was the Reggie Miller game in 1994. And I saw that. Too many people in here. You can't end it. Snipe, let me live in peace. Captain Winters, yes. Will I be watching the Sydney Sweeney Gundam movie? I watched The Housemaid. Listen, I'm not trying to watch Sydney Sweeney act. Just go out there and be Sydney Sweeney. Those are her best roles. You know what I'm talking about. Joe says it's 9 a.m. in Croatia and still didn't go to sleep. It's unfortunate, Joe's, that my first Croatia experience was such a negative one because it's my fault. I went to Dubrovnik in July and it was practically adult Disney World. I should have gone to, how do you pronounce it? VAR, H-V-A-R. I should have gone there just to party, but I thought I could get some culture in Dubrovnik and whatnot, but I did not have a good time. The food stunk in the walled city. I had to get out of there and explore. So unfortunately, it was a bunch of wonderful people, but I would not recommend going into Dubrovnik during peak season. When was the last time I went to an actual movie theater? Star Wars. The Star Wars Emperor Palpatine Resurrection movie. And that was so bad, I'm never going back again. Oh, Helwick's got a stat of the night. The Cavs have won 12 straight versus the Raptors in the playoffs. The last two Raptors playoff wins versus the Cavs were those two random games where Biyombo had 40 combined rebounds. And isn't that the series that got him paid? That was his big contract. The Raptors went 3-0 against the Cavs this regular season, but those were without James Harden. Altitude Sports was running a bio of Danilo after the game tonight. Someone say Il Capo d'Italia. It's almost Gabagool time. Split. Yeah, I should have just gone to Split. Yeah, again, it's my own fault for going to the most popular Croatia destination. I couldn't believe how many people were there, man. Insane amount of people. And I had an apartment in the middle of the walled city, my own place, and I just stayed there. There was no point in going outside. I only went outside before the buses started to show up. Buses started showing up at like 10 a.m. Gabagool. Somebody get Lexi in here. I don't want to hear she's too old and she's like an adult now and she's got a job and shit. She's still on the internet doom scrolling. I know she is. Never be too old for this shit. What do the Wolves have that the Nuggets struggle with? Thank you, Caleb, for asking a basketball question. Versatility, size, the ability to switch positions 1 through 5, a defender that can actually or is experienced against Jokic and has had some success against him, knows his tendencies, a defense that has seen that Jokic Murray pick and roll probably 10,000 times, and I'm not even exaggerating. They have confidence because they've beaten him so many times in the past. They have a star in Anthony Edwards that can get his own shot. What don't they have is a better question. Gabagool. Helwick, do you have the saxophone? One of these days I'm going to have to figure out a way once I get my new computer to FaceTime you in. More role players that can go downhill like Jaden McDaniels and Nas Reed. If tonight was any indication of that, absolutely. How many times McDaniels got to the rim in game 1 and 2? That series is going 6 or 7. Nixon 6. Well, I would have changed my Rockets prediction if I knew Kevin Durant was going to be out. Nobody knew about that. Everyone, if you don't have a dog in the fight, everyone should be rooting for Nuggets Wolves to go 7 because that's the best series by far. Helwick says, I actually played it surprisingly well, the saxophone. It was like Al Horford in the playing game. Nicely said. Dante was awesome. Dante, similar to the Knicks, is going to be an essential floor spacer. Is there a more perfect 2026 role player than Dante DiVincenzo? Like hard-nosed defender, willing to sacrifice his body, experienced, stands tall against any adversary, can hit threes in volume, doesn't need the ball in his hands to be successful, willing to do the dirty work. That is the most versatile role player possible in the game today, and every championship team needs several of those. Orlando, Detroit will not go 7 games. No. The problem for the Pistons is that they're looking in the mirror with the Magic. If you went through the 8 teams in the Eastern Conference, who are the 2 worst by far from beyond the arc? The Pistons and the Magic. That is the most ideal matchup for Orlando because they don't start off every game minus 15 against a team like the Celtics that's going to launch 43s a night. Where else are you going to make those 15 points up that they're going to beat you from the 3-point line? The answer has to be Banchero and his ability to get to the free throw line. But Orlando is willing to be as physical as Detroit. They're not scared of Duran and beef stew. They're willing to fix bandits and participate in a rock fight. They don't feel any sort of intimidation. They got Wendell Carter Jr., who's playing bigger than he's listed at. If there's one thing that they enjoy, it's playing basketball in the mud because they can't beat you anywhere else. Derek White, Dante DiVincenzo, Jalen Suggs. Well, Suggs doesn't shoot the ball like those other 2. But which of those 3 would you rather have on your team? Derek White, Dante DiVincenzo, Jalen Suggs. I would probably go... Well, Derek White's got size. And he can... Well, Dante can dribble too. But I would trust Derek White to run my offense. I'll go Derek White 1, DiVincenzo 2, Jalen Suggs 3. Jalen Suggs took 7 threes in the first 8 minutes. I mean, who else is going to? Dante was dead in the league when he got to the Warriors. there wasn't as much of a need for him. But as basketball has evolved or transformed, depending on your interpretation of the word, Dante DiVincenzo is becoming a more and more valuable currency by the day. The Pistons should trade for Kyrie this offseason. They fucked up not getting Kobe White snipe. I will stand on that. If they don't win the championship, they're going to be looking back on the trade deadline, bringing in Kevin Huerter instead of Kobe White. Kobe White would have supplemented everything that they do well to perfection. Kobe White, the perfect floor spacing guard that is a hybrid type of point shooting guard, scoring guard, catch and shoot, whatever you need from him. Kevin Huerter is a 3-and-D guy, but he's not getting enough burn to matter. They needed Kobe White so badly. They could have had him, and they went for Kevin Huerter instead. Jish says that playoff basketball is different. Cade do something on offense, works on a Wednesday night. Brooklyn, not in the playoffs, where the game is slower and in the half court with 10 eyes looking at him on defense. Correct. Who else on the Detroit roster is a team staying at home against when Cade Cunningham goes off the dribble? He's a high gravity guy. But when the defense all have feet in the paint, with the exception of the assignment on Duncan Robinson, you're not guarding Asar Thompson and Jalen Duren outside the three-point line. They combined for 0 3-pointers yesterday. 40% of the Detroit starting lineup had 0 3-pointers. Who else? Tobias Harris? You really running out there and recklessly closing out against Tobias Harris? Cade Cunningham, for as great as is he known for his three-point shooting? The answer is Duncan Robinson, and that's it. They fucked up not getting Kobe White. The Last Dance was released 6 years ago today. Any thoughts on that, Doc? 6 years later. I remember. So I did cheat a little bit. Have I ever told this? Told this story? I don't think so. So I had, when people sat down to watch, to sit down and watch The Last Dance, I had seen every episode a week before it aired. I had all the screeners, and I was working with Jason Hare, who was the director of it, who was supposed to, no one saw COVID coming. There was anticipation that they were going to run it the following summer, so they had time to edit, produce, and finish up some of the interviews. And then ESPN came to him and said, we need this now, like right now. Get it done. And he spent probably 2 months of his life locked in his apartment for reasons other than COVID. Like COVID was forcing people to stay inside, but he practically lived in the editing room to get that product ready to be broadcast to the world. And I was helping him with just some basic editorial direction, and I was seeing all the episodes in advance. So all the jokes, all the content, and the, like, my Mortal Kombat video that I made of Jordan versus the Bad Boys, I had all week to set that shit up. And the moment that, like, Dennis Rodman appeared on the screen, Dennis Rodman joke, this guy had it all queued up, just like tweet, 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 all in a row. It was the easiest content of my life, and I admittedly, I did cheat in delivering all those good jokes, because no one within 5 seconds of that airing could think of something or produce something that quickly. But yeah, I mean, that was as essential of a television program as I've ever seen in our lives, because people needed that community experience of watching something together, which had been lost, not only because of the technological advancements of shit moving from cable to streaming, but we all want to get online and, like, remember that we exist, considering we've been trapped in our houses for the last 4 weeks waiting to see if the world's going to end. Helwig says, I feel like that the Pistons are going to use Karis LeVert a lot as a we need a bucket guy this series when offense gets rough. Several teams have tried that in the past, dating back to the Cavaliers and shit. And the Pacers, like can you rely on Karis LeVert to go out there and give you a 35 to 40-minute performance? Or is he just not physically capable because of his heart condition? That's right. We got 12,000 people to watch this show. 12,000 people to watch this show at 3:07 a.m. Eastern on a Tuesday. Man up. Let's fucking go. Where's Pachinko Season 3? I forgot to update the question. Now that you guys can see the whiteboard, this is sent to me by ProfitX, and they wanted me to do like Woody Page style around the horn setup. What should be tonight's question for next show? Chad says, baby, wake up. Radio Roulette is back. It's a little bit, this is more late night with Wob. Radio Roulette was more of a interactive experience with callers and a different type of show. Late Night with Wob is the original late night show. We can sleep when we're dead. For now, we talk hoop. Do I still have that John Wall work? Yeah, right here. John Wall signed jersey. If I told you, Jish, if I die, you can have it. But for now, it's essential art on my apartment wall. I got an air mattress, and I got jerseys on the wall. But I'm still doing okay. Can you believe it? All I do is get made fun of for my decor, and all I do is... Never mind. What are we saying? We're saying we can sleep when we're dead, but for now we talk hoop. Kind of hard to see. Not really looking at. It's too bright with this camera. I'll have to. We cannot read that. Just be fortunate that I found a camera that works with this computer. This stream compared to yesterday is like Blu-ray. And oh, by the way, ProfitX, I emailed you guys about discovering the validity of last night's winner that did not retweet the tweet, and we had the chat proclaiming that we had a fraudulent victor. I'm still waiting to hear back if we're going to be getting that, if I need to get that guy his tickets or not. You're right. It's about that time. It is now 12:11 a.m. It's not just any hours. It's hours. After the stream, I'll like highlight it and make it more readable. The camera's, the exposure's turned up. I don't want to mess with the settings because it could fuck everything up. This camera's from like 2019. It's an Elgato USB camera. But it's better than the one that's built into the damn computer. Well, I don't know how to play royalty-free music. Oh, maybe I could do it through the phone. But then I'll lose you guys. Hold on. Just for old time's sake, why don't we play some lo-fi royalty-free? Oh, look at this. There's a whole new channel of it. There's so many different channels compared to the one we used to listen to. This is not helpful. Can you guys hear that? This isn't very good lo-fi. Welcome to the after party. .9 smooth late night with Wad. Can you guys hear the music? Get Catherine back in here to listen to some Wi-Fi or lo-fi. Wow, I haven't been in here since I told you I've booked Laker fans to make the playoff tickets from everybody I know in 2021, 2022. I don't remember that. Sorry. We're going to have to work on finding the balance with my voice and the music because these speakers are so shitty from the laptop. I have a microphone right here, which would be... But if I plug it in, it starts throwing all sorts of static. That's why why it sounds like I'm in a fish tank. Yeah, Catherine is too good for late night with Wob now. Catherine, we know where you live. Came in here talking all that shit and all she does is sleep now. Even in a season where her precious Blazers finally make the playoffs, she's not in here to brag about it. The Lakers chalice still exists. When was the last time I drank out of the Lakers chalice? Should I drink out? If they win tomorrow, I will drink out of the Lakers chalice because I bet them to win the series after the Kevin Durant news, and that shit fucking pays. Let me go find the Lakers chalice. Come on. Shit around here don't change. The Lakers chalice of life. Everything's still the same. Nothing ever changes. Come on. I'm living like it's 1999 every day. What has Catherine been tweeting? Is she still on Twitter? She talked a lot of shit and then she disappeared. The chalice may need to be cleaned. It's been a while. The Lakers chalice of life. If they win tomorrow, we're drinking out of the chalice. Team I would like to win the lottery? Utah. Look at that lineup. Tabonza, Bailey, Keontae, Jackson, Markkanen. Woo! Oh, no. You know who I hope wins the lottery? Oklahoma City. The rich get richer. Capitalism, monopolies, consolidation. OKC's first they're going to bury Spirit Airlines, and then they're going to bury the NBA. The Pacers deserve it as reparations for Game 7 of the finals. Yeah, I guess. They'll be good regardless. Wait, they can't get... Oh, they can get it with their own pick. Let's think about that Clippers protected pick. Would you want to be picked by OKC? You're never going to see an NBA floor. They got Nikola Topic over there. It was like, dude, my rookie contract's about to expire. Can I please get some minutes over here? Bleacher Dave, is that you? Is that the Bleacher Dave from SiriusXM? Worlds combining here. These are locusts in the chat. You will not find SiriusXM callers up at this hour, Bleacher Dave. SiriusXM callers are a whole different WAB environment habitat. This is Sicko's chat. Ghost Panda says the Thunder are going to turn into the Dodgers. And AJ Mitchell's got to get a lot of burn in year 2. Wiggins out of the playoff rotation now, so they're going to lose Lou Dort probably. I wonder what they do with Hartenstein, but they're just going to replenish that with whoever the fuck is left on that bench that's been waiting for PT. The capitalists created this CBA to hamstring the spenders only to create the OKC monopoly. Yeah, Thomas Sorberg can't even get onto the floor. We need a good Tamir. Oh, tonight would have been a great night for Tamir. Tamir would have said some shit that probably got him canceled after losing this game. Oh, Antarctica Nation jerseys. Right. I can't even get a computer, let alone personalized jerseys. This lo-fi channel is pretty good. I remember I tried listening to like a waves crashing YouTube channel because the hotel I was staying in was so quiet, and I'm such a light sleeper that I wanted some like white noise in the background. And I forgot I didn't subscribe to YouTube Premium at the time, so as I was falling to sleep, an ad came in like 20 minutes in, blasting some mariachi music, and it just like fucking woke me up instantly. It's like, oh shit, now I can't even play the white noise because I don't have ad-free viewing. And I'm definitely not signing up for $8 a month. It's up to like $16 a month now. No subscriptions. Well, yeah, light sleeper. That's why this exists. This air mattress that I had to put in the living room. Thankfully, Mrs. Wabb permits me to come out here and get a couple of hours sometimes. Tamir, Johnny Football, and Wolves Guy. Those were 3 Mount Rushmore Radio Roulette callers. Oh, Sorber has an ACL. Yeah. Craig, there's no chases now until my computer comes. I can bootleg chases from my phone. It's just I'm not gonna be on stream. Currently not my situation. What does that mean? No, she's just very good about allowing me. Wob has many problems. Wob is a light sleeper, so I can't sleep in the same bed as someone else. I'll just be awake all night. So coming out here and sleeping in a separate bed, putting up with my schedule, putting up with my lack of vegetables, my general difficultness. Maybe this would all explain why I'm mostly single throughout my life. Warriors come out to play. Well, oh, who was that? That wasn't Johnny Football. What was that dude's name? Marcelo. Think Helwick. You need to do something with that memory of yours. Please find your way onto Jeopardy. Marcelo. How do you remember everything? Mrs. Wob remembers everything too. Everything. What's wrong with you people? I like forgetting things. Plug me back into the Matrix. Jeopardy, Helwick. Jeopardy. Somebody's got to hire you to write college football stuff. Is there anywhere, does anyone even hire for college football anymore that's not The Athletic? ESPN? Do blogs even exist anymore? SB Nation, Vox? Everything's just gone. You have to go independent. Oh, you did an audition? When you audition for Jeopardy, is it just a test or do you have to test on camera? I can't imagine those people are like camera friendly that are trying to get onto Jeopardy. They're mostly, let's be honest, I mean this in a complimentary way, but they're nerds. They're not usually made for in front of the camera. So I would think a lot of Jeopardy is just the test. Jokic and Murray went 2 of 13 in the fourth. Yeah. Drew says, yes, blogs exist, but in a more indie way. Substacks, Patreon, yeah. People should have been focused on that shit back in the 2010s. Everyone was trying to work for the major networks. You should have been working on your own brand then. I was like, I was trying to stay away from the major networks. I'm like, you people get fired? What are you going to do? You're reliant on the networks for distribution. I was always so focused on building my own audience. Boy, did my bosses hate me too. A lot of my network bosses always recognized me as someone that was not going to be just a good company man and make them look good. I'm out here trying to yeah, we're going to share platforms. I send traffic and I use you for legitimacy, but you're out of your mind if you think I'm going to sacrifice quality of what I'm doing to help this shitty project that is just designed to get clicks and stuff. But it worked, I guess. And now everyone's going indie. Now everyone's going indie when you should be going for the networks. Oh, Helwick says there's the online test I passed. I got a call back where I did a Zoom test with a proctor, and you get like 10 seconds per answer, including reading the question. Wow, that's not a lot of time, and you got to type super fast. So I guess that is part of Jeopardy, and how quick you have to be with that button. There's a skill and an art to that button, I've been told, because everyone up on the stage is brilliant and probably knows the answer, but you have to know the timing. Isn't that what the dude, not Ken Jennings, but the Andrew, what's his face? The guy, the original, not the original, who had the record for most shows and Money Won. He said how he figured out the button strategy. I just don't know if there's any gigs left. Is there any gigs left in sports media outside of The Athletic? There's no such thing in local newspapers anymore. They all got eaten up by venture capitalists and they got stripped down for parts. Now they're just publishing AI. Sports Illustrated is practically a bot. There's no more magazines. Like, who are you supposed to work for to get a paycheck? Noah Angel, sorry if I mispronounced your name, please explain a little more why people should go to networks now. It's fascinating stuff. Because I think the legitimacy, the amount of supply and demand, the supply of jobs with your legacy sports networks is very low, which means if you have one of them, they're extremely valuable. And the distribution, which is available to you, will go further now than when the market was saturated with everyone on the internet working for blogs and all of these upstart companies. As gambling money started to infuse all of these businesses, it just didn't mean as much. Having an audience now, if you have a big one, you can go indie. I've been mostly indie my entire life, or my entire content creation career. But I would think now, if you have the opportunity to work at a legacy network that is prioritizing digital footprints versus the 2010s when you couldn't even find an ESPN YouTube channel, let alone sub-channels and other, specific little niches of theirs. It was just a basic ESPN channel. There was no TikTok. There was no Snapchat. Like, if you work at one of those legacy networks now, they have gazillions of followers. And they will just force feed you on their platform everywhere. So I do find those jobs to be a lot more valuable now than they were. First question asked, where did General Lee surrender to Grant? Thought it was going to be easy, then I had some really complex plant anatomy questions that caught me off guard. Shit. What was the courthouse that General Lee surrendered at? Appomattox? Something? A conglomeration of the market? A consolidation of the market. Bleacher Dave says, a fellow meatitarian. My doc took me off vegetables years ago. Explain yourself, Bleacher Dave. Why did he take you off of vegetables? Drew says we need Hellwick's memory plus Wobb's predictions on how to position yourself, and it's over for you hoes. Drew, have you been doing any stand-up comedy? I hope you've been getting some gigs and some opportunity. That's not an easy job. There's another. You need to have like a gargantuan platform. I don't know. There's so many funny people out there. There's just such a surplus of inventory. It's so difficult to break through. How are you supposed to get any gigs in Hollywood? You know, I just learned today that one of the main characters from The Pit, the girl with the glasses, the doctor, she's Bryan Cranston's daughter. Like, that's the only way you're getting onto a show like that. One of my best friends here in Los Angeles wrote the script for Black Klansman. His very first movie, he won an Oscar. He has, on that stage with Spike Lee, an Oscar, Charlie Wachtel. Motherfucker is batting 1,000 on movies. And you would figure, if you're that good, the jobs would just be piling up. Hasn't had anything since. Like, Hollywood is that dry right now. It's just developing IP, sequels, and superhero shit that's owned by these studios. I got it right. Appomattox Courthouse, right? What did I say? Appendix? Noah says, call me Jupiter Jazz. Jupiter Jazz, bro. I'm from the birds. Birds in the Airstream. Okay, sorry. The grammar. You have to understand that I am Ron Burgundy, and I'm like this on radio too. So if my producers ever type out a script that has the slightest grammatical error, I will make it. You better make sure that shit is on point. I will read anything the way that it is written. Especially with the new NBA TV deal, Amazon and NBC hired a lot for NBA coverage. Believe it or not, that is not as accurate as you think it is. So during the offseason, I obviously probed and explored a lot of these possibilities with my agents at CAA. Amazon has no OTT stuff, no digital stuff. It's all just studio and crew. NBC is just studio, and then they have a couple of like YouTubers or something that they're affiliated with for distribution. Nothing in-house though. They just paid for licensing. ESPN is ESPN. Yes, the real key is to hire CAA. They are worth every penny. They control everything. Half the gigs I get are from CAA, and I would never get them unless I was a CAA client. This ProfitX deal, though, Jake reached out to me as a Knicks fan. That's how we started talking. And then I had an availability open up after the Sorare was really cut back on what they're doing. And I'm like, let's work. Let's cook. And then this came about. And it's been great so far. 2 years and counting. Drew says definitely not. Oh, regarding the stand-up comedy gigs. I get that a lot, though. But I feel my humor comes from conversation and back and forth. But I got an interview, advertising producer tomorrow, so wish me luck. Good fucking luck, man. You've been out here grinding. I hope you get something, then. You're a funny-ass dude. If you can't get a writing or comedy gig, I don't know who the fuck can. Just a genuinely funny guy. Should be able to. And I mean, you could put your shit on the internet, but you have to create so much volume of it. How difficult it is to build a following. You need so many hits and consistency. You have to be willing to devote your life to it. Not that easy when you got bills to pay, when everything's fucking expensive. Everyone has a different life situation. I'm a single guy who lives in a one-bedroom apartment, so my expense, I don't even own a car. I'm a minimalist. This is it. This is all the shit that I own. A couple of t-shirts. I like shoes. That's about it. And I like to play poker. But other than that, everything here is minimalist lifestyle. It's afforded me the ability to save a little bit. But people live their lives differently and they have different responsibilities. If you don't have good health, you got to pay for procedures, medication. Some people are in debt from college because they were sold a future that didn't come to fruition. If life was easy, everyone would do it. No, you're good, Noah, says my bad on the grammar. I was trying to subtly shout out birds in the air. We got a great community over there. So there's different wob habitats. There's the police chase. How many people here in Los Angeles specifically, like I go for a walk to the beach and people will just stop me and be like, the police chase guy. They have no clue about the NBA stuff. The police chase guy. That's the police chase guy. Then there's the NBA sickos like you guys that stay up late with me. Some people just appreciate the WAB stuff. Then there's an entire Sirius XM. That is ridiculous. The Sirius XM audience is colossal. I walk through an arena at like All-Star Weekend, and the security guards like stop Antonio and I, and like listen every single day. Random people, man. But they're not social media people, but we listen to the radio. There's so many, with media so fractured, you have to be willing to visit or occupy all of these different little ways to consume content. And it's all so fractured. There's no more monoculture anymore. And everyone's not just going to Twitter or just going to TV and watching the same shit. Some people are streamers and digital and podcasts. I don't think I've ever listened to an entire podcast in my life. I listen to clips of podcasts, but because I don't commute, I don't spend an hour just to sit around and listen to shit. But it's more convenient for some other people in the way that they live. So you're studying for it, the advertising producer. Advertising producer. Is that for an advertising gig, like Ad World, or is advertising producer an official title on a set? Yeah, there is not much overlap with car chase sickos and NBA sickos. And one of my personal passions are as a sports fan. Like I love NASCAR. I love watching auto racing. You want to talk about the opposite demographic of the NBA. Now, with Michael Jordan there, the bridge and Jordan's having some serious success this year. But the bridge between the common NASCAR fan and the common NBA fan is distant, long. Might as well be the Golden Gate. Bleacher Dave says, Doc took me off vegetables because they taste like sad. What? If the Wizards win the lottery, I'm calling into Sirius XM. Tell your producers to let me through. Bet. Is Tyler Reddick going to win the championship? Yeah, they just changed the no more playoff format. Winning you're in. Now it's back to the chase, if I'm not mistaken, and winning in the regular season matters a lot more. So he's got a big time lead. Within an ad agency, it's a title that essentially the bridge between the client and the creatives. The verbiage has changed over the years, but the title is essentially creative producer or creative project manager. Good luck, my friend. That sounds like something you would be really good at. It would be nice to get. I'm sure it comes with benefits. And don't be letting these places that hire you try and put you on 1099. Negotiate your way into a W-2 so that you get benefits. That shit is so expensive. I don't have any health problems that I know of, and I still pay like $550 for a bronze PPO plan in California. It's got a ridiculously high deductible. If I ever get hit by a bus, it's going to be $5,000 cash before they start operating. And I have insurance. And it's not even an HMO, it's PPO. Shit does nothing. If you work a job in which you have health benefits and dental, man, now you see why people don't like to leave even though they hate their jobs, because shit like that. And then they're stuck. It's like, I hate this job. What am I doing with my life? But the benefits are so fucking good and I need them. So do my kids and my family. And that's why they get on that train and they commute 9 to 5 every day. And they just suck it up and do it. I can't do that. I can't do that. I gotta travel. I got the itch to travel. And then when I'm done traveling, I'll probably get a dog. But it's going to be a while. Got my Vietnam trip. I'll be in Ireland for the football game. I'll be in London. Running out of places to go to. Oh, a lot of contract and freelance. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep, that's a cheap way for them to hire people. Mrs. Wobb's cool with it? Yeah, for the most part. Surprised. Sometimes I'm surprised she hasn't dumped me yet because of how erratic my schedule is. We don't see each other more than once a week, maybe. But she's got a, I don't want to dox her, but she has a ridiculous schedule herself. I think I said what her profession was. It makes sense. She's in the healthcare industry. So we kind of just hang out when the stars align. So I wouldn't say it's anything too serious, but it's exclusive. And we spend our free time with each other. So that's it. It's working out so far. And if it doesn't for one of us, then go from there. But for now, it's good. Does she watch sports? She does with me. Yeah. She roots for NBA teams based on mascots. She likes cute mascots, and she knows them all by heart. So if the Thunder are playing the Suns, it's Rumble versus the Gorilla, and she'll root for the Thunder. She likes Rumble. Her favorites are Rocky. She likes the Mountain Lion. She likes Benny the Bull. Of course, 2 elite mascots. She likes Crunch. She likes Franklin. Who else? Like Boomer, Champ, all the animals. Romo says, I was at Coachella yesterday, and now I'm here struggling to stay up on the stream. Did you go to Beebs? Did you go to the Beebs? Or did you go to the K-pop? The outdoor theater. I was watching some of that. What happens if a girl goes vegan after you get married? She's going to have to deal with a non-vegan being her husband. It seems like she's the next candidate for a boat date. No. First of all, she's already been on a boat date. And for a watch. I forgot about the watch. I was thinking about buying some girl I was dating a watch for a present, and I got roasted deservingly for it. I was going to get her an Anne Klein watch. And I got roasted by the watch community. She's going to dump your ass. And guess what? I think she dumped me. Wait. Oh, yeah, I know who that was. I'm glad I didn't get her that watch. And she was for the streets, though. Very funny story about that one. One of my closest friends that I played poker with, we learned after a year of knowing each other that we were Eskimo bros with that same girl. And I was the boyfriend in between the original relationship they had and the second one they had. And she's been with like 15 guys since. Totally for the streets. Boy, was she hot, though. I was going to buy her a watch. Did she have any reaction to Gee Whiz getting brutally assaulted by Jackson Hayes? That was a thing. Aren't they still in court over that? Gee Whiz sued him. She doesn't like Gee Whiz because she doesn't like creatures. But I have a soft spot for Gee Whiz. Justice for Gee Whiz. He was attacked. Last week's high-speed chase into weekend one Beaver was so peak. That was a fun chase. My computer was still working for that one. Wasn't it? What did the Wizards get in that Denny trade? 2 firsts. One of them was Bob Carrington. Back-to-back seasons of 82 games played. If she sits through Game 7 with me, she's the one? No, you don't want to be here when I'm watching a Game 7. I need to be in isolation. But I've done a pretty good job of the girls I've dated have been very good companions watching NBA. They don't feel the need to comment and contribute because they know I prefer silence and I'm like locked in trying to focus. I don't think I've had a bad girlfriend in the last 5 years. They've all been wonderful. They just end for different reasons. No, Drew, YouTube, leave me alone, Anne Klein watch. And I thought Anne Klein was a reputable watch brand, okay? I thought it'd be a nice gift. It's a thought that counts. She doesn't like Gee Whiz because she doesn't like creatures. Yeah, no creature mascots. Shep, how are you possibly still awake? You couldn't have been doing a show this entire time. Did you just end? No. Postgame show had to end. Let's see. The game ended at 1:45 a.m. Eastern. So that's 10:45. You probably went till... I'm sorry, 10:45 Pacific. You went till midnight. So you went till 3 a.m.? Did you go to 3 a.m. Eastern in that damn studio? Oh, so you probably just got home then. 51 minutes after, and that makes sense. Welcome to late night life, post game life. Not that, I mean, you're used to this shit, but yeah. Had to do nearly an extra hour. So I assume, wait, I think the game actually ended. So for those of you that don't know, the second hour is the one that counts on SiriusXM. It gets recorded and played overnight on repeat. So you essentially are doing a show for 30 minutes that no one will ever hear again. So if you started that show right after the final buzzer, it was 10:35 p.m. Pacific time, 1:35. So you did 25 minutes of pre-show that was live. I don't know if you took commercials or not. And then the capture hour was 11 p.m. to midnight. And that's what's going to run for the next shit. Your show's only going to run 3 times because the starting lineup comes on at 7 a.m. I have more viewers than SportsCenter, so I had to tune in. Nobody's awake right now. Most of the people in this stream just put it on, and now that I'm playing lo-fi music, they just put the stream next to their pillow and doze off. And I don't want to make that sound like a complaint. It's just what's happening. That's what Catherine used to do. She's like, just put on the music. I'm trying to go to sleep over here. Talk to me, Grandpa. I don't care what you have to say. Just keep talking. Missed my thoughts on the end of the game. Seemed to me that Jokic and Murray ran out of gas more than the T-Wolves stole it. Oh, for sure. But there's a reason why they ran out of gas. Timberwolves defense was relentless tonight. And these teams know each other so well. So well. It's what makes it so interesting. They can't run anything that's going to surprise each other. Hours. All right, 2.5 hours. We're well into the post-game show. What did we used to call this part? Oh, the after party. Well into the after party. I need to go prepare for a radio show myself at some point. It's almost 1 a.m. Yeah, I gotta go to bed soon. Radio show at 11 tomorrow. And I usually get up around 9:30 to start prepping for it. That's why Jokic is so sick. The 2-man game with Murray still generated good looks. That it does. That Gobert catch and shoot 3 is going to be a hell of a surprise. It's too late for that. Even though Minnie has seen it a million times. Also, the Tim Connolly connection is hilarious. He knows that franchise better than anybody. By the way, Wad, this is the Gobert Hall of Fame game. He's already getting into the Hall of Fame. But he stood tall tonight. It's just like all of Gobert's accomplishments throughout his career are certainly worthy of the Hall of Fame. But just how much better Victor Wembanyama is than pretty much everyone who's played defense before. If the Spurs were to make the conference finals, that means they're going to beat Denver or Minnesota in the second round. We're getting awfully close to Victor Wembanyama being the best basketball player in the world. But it's going to require a postseason run to take it from Jokic. Shea's going to win MVP, but that's different than best player in the world. MVP is like the WWE title. There's the heavyweight championship. And then there's the Intercontinental. There's different belts. The major 3 awards are MVP, or 2. MVP and best player in the world. Jokic is the best player in the world. Shea's the MVP. But Wemby is knocking on that door, and it's only year 3. When these generational unicorns start ascending, it's usually year 6. LeBron, Giannis, Jordan. It's always year 6. Probably even Jokic was close to year 6. He didn't get Nurkic out of there until a couple of years into that Nuggets campaign. It's happening fast. I think the lo-fi is putting you all to sleep. It's also almost 4 a.m. Eastern time. And half the chat before was like, bro, I got to get up at 5 a.m. to go to work. Oh, that's coming quick. I said, cross that bridge when we get there. It's coming up fast. Nurk got traded because they needed to make way for Jokic. Yeah. Duncan was year 3. Wait. No, Duncan was... Oh, you're right, 99, because Duncan was drafted in 97 with Antonio going to the Grizzlies. And then year 3 was Duncan. Yeah. Difference was Tim Duncan had David Robinson in a team surrounding him that could have won the title with or without Duncan, with all due respect. They were probably that good, even though Duncan very quickly became the guy. But that team was super legit. And I don't know what the Spurs would look like without Wembanyama. But yes, Tim Duncan is probably the best example of someone that peaked this early. That year 12 Karl Malone MVP was voter fatigue. Who's going to be the asshole in a future voting who doesn't give Wembanyama a first place vote and ruins his unanimous? Because he just got a unanimous Defensive Player of the Year, the first ever. Someone out there is going to vote to ruin it and be the guy. Because if he got like 5 unanimous Defensive Player of the Years, he's easily the best defender of all time. We're still a ways away from that happening. Still. Why is everyone in the chat saying, I don't know why I'm in here? Just says, no idea why I'm still here. Come on. Well, they didn't tank. The Spurs didn't tank with the Admiral. The Admiral got hurt. It was just perfect timing. It was like the Pacers this year. Perfect timing of the Pacers being all sorts of injured, because now they could potentially get a top pick and Halliburton back. And then they just resume where they were. See, Snipe, you're now one of my favorite commenters because you withstood my crashing out, understood the reasoning for it, accepted the apology, and you're still here. It's part of the WOB experience. I feel like I'm at a bar that decided to stay open an extra hour, and I didn't feel like calling an Uber. You waiting to be dragged out? The bouncers went home already. You waiting to get dragged out by the manager? Well, we got 90 seconds left before we get to the 2.5 hour mark. So get your questions off now. Because I got to go shower and make some taquitos and go to bed. This lo-fi fucking bangs, though. Into this lo-fi. Great, great bedtime, overnight music. All right, chat's falling asleep. Chat's falling asleep. This is a good chance for me to sneak up out of here and let you guys start counting sheep. Until next time, my friends. I don't know when we'll go live again. If there's games that are worthy of it, expect me to go live. If it's a quiet night, expect me not to be present. You'll know it when you see it. Like, this is a late night with Wob night. and then I'll be here. Doge at $1 or the Knicks championship. I don't have any Doge left, unfortunately, so I'll take the Knicks. Yeah, you got it, Shep. You too. May the peace of the code be with you always and all of you. Good stream. Good to be back. Throw it back with some of you all, some lo-fi and hours, the after party. See you on the timeline. Adios, my friends.